This episode is sponsored by Jacobson Real Estate Company. Are you ready to find your dream home? Or maybe you're thinking about selling and want the best deal possible? Well, look no further. At Jacobson Real Estate Company, we make buying or selling your home smooth, stress-free, and exciting. With 50 plus years of experience and a deep knowledge of the Winona, Minnesota area market, we specialize in turning your real estate goals into reality. Whether it's finding that perfect neighborhood, negotiating top dollar for your property, or answering all of your questions along the way, we're here for you. Plus, with our personalized approach, you're not just a client, you're family. So why wait? Let Jacobson Real Estate Company open the door to your future. Call us today at 507-313-2716 or visit our website at jacobsonrealestatecompany.com. Because your next chapter starts here. Buy, sell, invest. Jacobson Real Estate Company. Welcome to this week's edition of Brews and Crews. I am your host, Chris Jacobson, and today I have a travel agent with me. Nicole Severson is here to tell us why you should use a travel agent, and also is going to go down some of the myths that people may have out there. So Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
And you've requested Mango Cart, and I can't think of a better beer than when we're talking about traveling to have Mango Cart, because it looks like something I would have on vacation. So I'm going to crack these open, and I'll give you one here. There's a koozie next to you if you want one. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but sometimes it's hot out and might need to use them because it's pretty warm in the studio today. So feel free to have more. If they fall out and roll out, that's fine too. So anyways, I want to thank you for coming on in, taking a few minutes out of your day, well, maybe more like an hour out of your day, and discussing the travel world, which first of all, I love traveling. And before we do that, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see. I haven't had this in a while.
My favorite summer drink.
This one, well, I could see how this one could be a little dangerous just because of the fact that it tastes, to me, it tastes a little bit like just like a fruit drink, but it's got a beer. It's let's see here, what's it made out of? Wheat? Okay, craft wheat with a little real mango in it, and I don't think, if I remember, 4%. So it's not like it's gonna knock you on your butt unless you have the whole thing.
Which who knows?
Which who knows is right. Well, anyways, let's discuss why should a person such as myself and the average traveler, why should I use a travel agent?
So we have a lot of benefits. When you use a travel agent, you have direct access to us. So when you're booking and traveling, you can always call and contact me. You don't have to call a 1-800 number. We have access to special rates and programs that not the average person can get.
Perfect. Now, I feel like that's a myth that some people would come up with, is say, well, I get all these, because I get a lot of emails, and it says, well, travel here and save this much money. And if I was not a knowing person, I would say, well, that sounds like probably better than anybody else could do. I'm getting buy one, get one half off, or whatever it might be out there. I don't know what things are out there, but you still have access to discounts?
Yep.
Even better ones?
We, depending on where you go through, we can access through different wholesalers. You could send us a price from Expedia. I get a lot of people who say, oh, I found this on Bookings, or I found this on Expedia.
Sure.
Well, our company has a system in itself that nobody else has, so we can check multiple sites at once, and a lot of times we can match or beat that. And I like to throw that we can match in there, because if you book through Expedia at the matching price of mine, you would still have to call that 1-800 number should something arise.
But you could do it instead.
Correct.
And take
if you
that off
book
my
through
plate.
me, then I can take care of that.
Okay. Now, I remember when I was younger, my parents, that was like the only way, because that was prior to the internet, really. When I first started going on cruises, my main source of traveling is cruises. And I remember we would go and talk to the travel agent, and they would do their thing, and that was before the internet. So has the internet, do you think, in your mind, do you think the internet has hindered maybe a travel agent, or is it still busier than ever?
No, I think it's actually helped. People love to research their own vacations.
Okay.
So there's the people who want to travel and plan their own vacation, and there's the people who want to be 100% hands off and they want us to do everything for them. The people who want to plan their own makes it kind of easy for me. They send me, hey, I found this deal. What price can you get?
Sure.
The people who don't want to plan anything, they'll send me a list of dates or a month that they want to travel. And then what they looked up on the internet, like they want to go to this awesome waterfall or they want to go on this one boat tour. So then we can plan the trip around that.
Okay, now I didn't think about that. To me, this resonates as a real estate agent. If someone already knows the house they want to go to and they want to see that house, it takes all the work away from me. But if they're saying, hey, this is what I want, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, now I'm searching everything for them. And then that's what that kind of sounds like from your aspect, is there's certain people that say, hey, this is where I want to go, make it happen. And there's other people that say, here's a destination I want to go to, make it happen, and it's all on you.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Okay, now, so I'm probably the first one you said. I would probably tell you, here's the date, here's what I want to do, here's where I want to go, and it'd probably make it kind of easy for you. I'm not really the one that says, hey, here's where I want to go, you figure it out for me. And so when it comes to those kinds of things, does it make it kind of fun to try to plan someone's vacation? And then when you do that, do you get callbacks and say, hey, that was amazing, thanks for doing that, I love that, that was awesome?
Yes, I've got multiple people who have done multiple trips with me now. So you being the one who kind of knows what you want and when you want, yep, makes it easy for me. Even if you have a destination in mind, I might say, hey, for the budget that you have you considered this as well?
Sure.
If you're loyal to a brand, I like to kind of bring up something that's similar to that people maybe don't know about.
Okay, so I would be loyal. I have my loyal cruise brand that I go to, and you might suggest something else to say, hey, think about this. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yep, I could. Or just say, for that price point, we might be able to get you here. Or I know you travel with X cruise line. Let me see if I can get you additional onboard credits. Because we can always use your loyalty reward numbers too, even as a travel agent.
Okay.
And something when you book with me, I create a profile for you and every traveler in your group. So if all of you have a rewards number and all of you have an airline rewards number or a hotel brand, I just keep that all in my profile. So when we're booking, I don't have to ask you every single time.
So you're my manager. You're my travel manager.
Correct.
I like that idea. That sounds like a lot of stress because in my mind, vacation should be pretty stress-free. And you'd probably say the same thing as an agent, say, hey, I want you to go and have the best time of your life. And that's the whole idea.
And there's vacationers and there's trippers. And I like to say there's a big difference. So if you go on vacation, it's kind of like you're cruising along or you're just sailing along, kind of know what you want to do. And then there's the people who plan a trip with an itinerary that's planned out day for day. And I like to help both people.
Okay, so trippers are more to, this is where we're going, this is to the T, and the vacationers are kind of just la 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 la, let's just
enjoying themselves. Just know what they want to see and don't really care when they see it.
Is there a certain type of trip that's easier for you to plan? Is it, so my idea of a vacation is go to warm weather, beaches, oceans, something like that. And someone else's might be, I just know someone that went to Alaska. To me, that's cold. I don't want to go there. Is there a certain idea that makes one really easy for you? Like, oh, if they suggest this, I have it like that for them.
So a lot of times I used to think Alaska was amazing and easy to plan because most people want to go by a cruise ship. I just had my first endeavor with booking an all land only Alaska trip, which was, I wouldn't say hard, but more difficult than you would think because a lot of things that people want to see in Alaska are accessed by cruise ship.
Oh, I suppose, right, because it's a lot of land, but not much city or towns. That's right, that's true, because I think Alaska's the biggest state we have.
And you can get to a lot of places from your cruise ship. So people will cruise there and do like a pre and a post stay. So they might do a 5-day cruise and then do a 3 or 4 day stay afterwards or up to a week afterwards.
It's not a bad idea.
But you can still see a lot of things from the ship.
Okay. So now, if I were to go to Alaska, is Anchorage the place to go to, or is there a bunch of other areas that someone would want to go to in Alaska? I don't know anything about it.
So there's Fairbanks is common.
Okay.
Juneau.
Juneau, Fairbanks, Anchorage.
Yep.
Okay.
So those are the main kind of, you can hit them all on the train. Denali National Park.
Oh, that sounds pretty fun too. So now, how long have you been doing this specifically?
I've been doing this for a little over a year now.
Okay.
So,
And can you say your agency that you work for?
yep, it's through Lux Riley Travel. We're based out of Miami.
Oh, okay. So you're able to work probably remotely, I assume, is what you're doing?
Yep. So we're we're all home-based agents. That's our sponsor company.
Oh, okay. So then you work out of your home.
Correct.
Oh, is it kind of fun or?
Yeah, I have my office set up with my double screens. That
Sure.
way I can have multiple things going on at once.
Yep. Now, how did you decide, hey, I want to get into travel agency?
So for about 2 years before I was doing that, I was already helping people kind of plan trips. And so I've been a traveler for quite a while.
Okay.
And then someone told me, like, I will pay you to do this. I was like, you don't have to pay me. I enjoy doing this. Like, I want to plan your fun trip. And they're like, no, you should really make money doing this. And so then I kind of looked at, like, I also had the myth of a travel agent. I'm like, I don't want to be that pushy salesperson that has to go out and, depend on going to find people. And you see them set up sometimes at events, and I don't want to be that travel agent.
Okay.
So then I was doing more research, and I found this company, and I really enjoy, like, we don't charge a fee for our services. So when I give you a price, that's the price you get, and that includes my service as well.
Oh, really? Okay, because I guess that's another myth in my head I would have is how do you get paid? Because I figured you'd have a commission of some sort. That's how a lot of sales jobs work. So I didn't know if that's how that works. So now you just work from home, and then do they give you leads of people that want to, or do you have to go out and kind of supplement your own leads?
I find my own. We have a leads program. It's for people who are in the top, or we can ask other people, but I do a lot of advertisement on Facebook.
Okay.
And then because I travel so much, when I'm traveling, I bring up what I do, so I generate a lot of leads that way as well.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, it sounds like I'm going to probably have to use you here in the coming future because our baby, that'll be about 8 or 9 months, is going to be going on vacation. So I'm going to have to get a hold of you. Now, who's going to benefit from using a you call yourself an advisor?
Yep.
Okay, so it's not a travel agent.
It's kind of interchangeable.
It's interchangeable. So travel advisor. So who can benefit from using this?
Anybody can benefit, whether you're traveling solo, a multi-generational family trip, a destination wedding.
You do weddings too?
Yep.
Oh, have you booked one yet?
I've done honeymoons and I've done venues, but I have not done like a destination wedding yet, but I've taken trainings on it. And
wow.
so.
That is not something I thought you would be planning. In my mind, it's going on vacation, not planning a wedding or a honeymoon. And well, I guess a honeymoon would be probably a vacation for most. But the other things you said was like planning a wedding and a venue and all that. I did not think all of those things that you would be doing.
So a lot of times the venue is at a location that has stays, right?
Sure.
So then you do the package deal. So since we're on the wedding thing, we'll talk kind of about that. So things we can do is negotiate room blocks for people, whether it be just the night of the wedding for your guests, if people are coming in early, staying late, you want that nice honeymoon suite at the venue you're staying at, but you want your guests to have a different kind of room. We can do that. Bachelor and bachelorette parties.
Wow.
Think of a lot of people who travel for that, so we can help arrange that. Honeymoons, of course, and destination weddings. So if we do a destination wedding, you could think tropical, you could think mountain, you could think on a cruise.
Sure.
I don't know if you've seen that, but people
I
get married.
have.
And
Actually.
so a lot of times what we do is we set things up with the resort too. So we're putting you in contact with the right people, so we don't have to all find the individual person for each thing, like a photographer, the catering, the
Sure.
setting up. So
Gosh, that's a lot. I mean, I had planned my own wedding here in Winona, and that was trying to coordinate everything was tough. I mean, they have wedding planners too, but yeah, if you're doing one that's out of state somewhere for a vacation or a destination, that would be a lot easier to hire someone such as yourself to negotiate the room blocks, get the venue ready to go, because that does take a lot off of two people getting married. There's plenty of other things going on as well. Now, you said something about multi-generational. What does that entail?
families, like if you want to go with grandparents, aunts,
Okay.
uncles, cousins, It's very common to go on cruises. It's common to go to a destination. So we can rent you a big villa. We've got villas we can rent that sleep up to 20. We can get you in condos that are located next to each other. We can get you on a cruise ship in a room block.
Question for you, because I'm going out to Sturgis. Has anybody ever booked for Sturgis yet?
I booked Sturgis last year, yeah.
Did you really? Well, okay, I want to, now that I know what's going on out there, what did you do, or where'd you get do you remember where the location was and what you all did?
It was about 25 minutes outside of Sturgis on a non-traffic day, not on a Sturgis traffic day.
Okay.
And it was, because it was Sturgis week, it was all like a non-refundable, no cancellation, because they're just going to resell that room if you can't come. They'll gladly take your name off, but it'll just go again. So
they'll double the money down then.
It was these people were last minute booking like 2 weeks before Sturgis, and ended up, what we found them wasn't an American, because they wanted to go as cheap as they possibly could.
Sure. You found something that close to the rally, that like within 2 weeks?
Correct.
So most people say you got to plan like a half a year or more out.
There was not many options to choose from.
But still getting a hotel, in my mind, would be even tougher. I feel like you'd be camping on the side of a road if that were the case. So you're able to find them something 2 weeks beforehand.
So I search by location, and a lot of times within 50 miles. Like I searched within 50 miles that time, because Sturgis is a very specific motorcycle rally, and that's, a nation, the whole U.S. comes to that one. It's not like the ones down in Daytona where, yes, they're kind of popular. It's not compared to Sturgis, though.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So now if I go back to the multi-generational thing, you said you set up profiles. So let's say I'm taking my grandparents and we're all you set up a profile for us specific?
Yep. So there'll be like a group leader, and then you would put everybody's name and birthday in there.
Okay.
And if you wanted to be like the group contact, we can set it up so one person pays for all. We can set it up so that each room pays individually. We have all sorts of things we can do. But in that profile as well, say they're a Princess Cruise or a Caribbean cruise member, I can put their number in there so that when we book, I can just pull that right up and put that in there. So we save all that information. That
sounds like a lot of weight taken off, because I have booked the last few cruises myself, which it's been a couple of years ago. I did book them myself, and I felt like I was the travel advisor or agent, and I was just telling people where to go and what we're doing and where the flights were going. But sometimes, in my mind, the flight's the hardest part, because there's many cruise ports in Florida. That's where we go out of. And there's Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and they're all literally within 25 minutes of each other. But then you can go to Orlando as well, depending on where you're going out of. But I felt like the travel agent the last few times we've gone. So that's really cool that I could just call you and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is the cruise ship I want to go on. Make it happen. And you're like, sounds good. Let's do it.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, okay. Now, you do more than obviously just hotels. You're doing a whole entire vacation, right? So it's not just the hotel. You're getting flights for everyone?
We can do flights.
Okay.
We encourage people who have points to use your points on flights.
Sure.
We can do rental cars. We can do excursions or activities, get you into theme parks, find you tours.
Okay. Well, I assume that you booked some overseas, right?
Correct. Yeah.
What are some of the popular destinations across seas? Because I'm a very let's go to America somewhere. I like that. But where are some popular ones that people go to overseas in different countries?
So Scotland.
So
Edinburgh.
Okay.
And then
what's at Edinburgh? I don't even know.
There's the castle. People like to see the castle.
Oh,
They can go during the Highland Games seasons.
What's the Highland Games?
It's just the kind of like a European festival type thing.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
okay.
They get together in it's called a courtyard.
Okay.
And play their
Scottish games. Is that where they do like log rolling?
4 people there, so.
Is that where they do like log rolling?
No, I don't think there's log rolling. It's land.
Okay. Okay. So what are some other places then? Because
London.
Of course. Why not?
Santorini.
Where's that?
Greece.
Oh, Greece. Okay.
Yep.
Those are some popular ones.
Australia. People like to go to Sydney, Australia.
Okay. I feel like that's like one of the furthest places to go to. Am I wrong? It is.
It's opposite. Their seasons are opposite of ours.
Oh, so right now it's cold there.
Yes.
That seems weird. July 2nd, it's cold because right now we are sweating here in Winona, Minnesota.
Yeah, 91 degrees.
91 degrees today. Yeah, the AC can't keep up in here.
The Swiss Alps. People big skiers go out to the Swiss Alps.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I suppose. Where's some places that you actually like to go to?
I'm big into hiking, so I
Okay.
love exploring out in Florida and in Arizona.
In Florida?
There's
Hiking?
reserves that you can hike on, and there's
Okay.
literally one you're hiking on there to be watch for alligators. And the first time we were hiking on one of those, I was like, yeah, okay, we're in the middle of a reserve, and we weren't 25 minutes in and we saw alligators. I'm like, all right.
No
I guess
kidding.
They aren't kidding.
So do the alligators just stay by themselves unless you mess with them? They just kind of do their own thing?
We just didn't go by them. We just kind of veered away. I guess that's not something we were willing to chance.
So you like to hike when you go on vacation?
Yep.
Okay, so to me that sounds like a workout. That wouldn't be my mine's like, let's lounge, have some drinks, and just do as little to nothing as possible and still have fun. That to me is a vacation. Hiking.
Yep.
Man, and I got friends that do that. They like to go and they'll go run a half marathon somewhere, and then they'll go do some hiking while they're out there and stuff like that. So where are some other places that you like to go hiking then? 'Cause that's kind of
We
interesting.
really like to explore the Phoenix and Havasu area. We've been to a lot of the
Yeah.
different mountain ranges out there.
Sure.
We've hiked South Dakota.
I've been to Lake Havasu. When my grandparents used to have a timeshare or a condo down there, I went down there once, and that was a nice area. And then my wife and I just took a plane ride down to Scottsdale or Apache Junction. We
Yep.
were just down that area. That was a nice area. I've never been to Arizona for that much time, which was 4 days only. And that was a really kind of an interesting place because it wasn't so humid, which that was nice. I got off the plane, it was 95. I'm like, this doesn't seem that bad right now. This
You
is
can breathe.
I can breathe. I cannot sweat possibly. And then the craziest thing, we get there and it's the next 3 days after 73, 71 rain. I'm like, what? Arizona 70? So that was a fun place. And I know because for those who are listening, I actually taught her son and her daughter actually. And so I do know that you go out to Arizona quite often. So that was one of the things that Jackson used to say, we're going to Arizona. I'm like, oh, okay, have fun out there. It's
Cultural experiences, right?
That's right. That's what he said. No, that's what he said about Grandma taking him to the AC/DC concert.
Yep.
I think it was cultural experiences. Is there a reason why you go to Arizona? Is there a family out there, or was it just?
Spring training. We like to go over spring break to watch the Brewers, so we try to hit up at least one game. So even when we went to Lake Havasu, we stayed one day in Phoenix, so we could get in a spring training game.
Oh, that sounds fun. I've never been to spring training. I wanted to always go to Fort Myers to watch the Twins, and then just never ever happened.
I know someone who can help you.
I do too. You're sitting right next to me. I'm gonna be calling you a lot more now. I want to go back to something you said. You said there's a difference, a slight difference between a travel agent and an advisor. Can you tell me what those are?
So the travel agent is a lot of times the brick and mortar,
Okay.
sitting in a building.
Sure.
And then as an advisor, I can tell you or help guide you on where to go. And we don't necessarily charge a fee. This is, for us, it's included with us. We get paid, but it's not by a fee basis.
Okay. So that's the difference. You're going to advise me on things I might or should do possibly if I'm going to this area. An agent is going to be sitting at a brick and mortar store, and I got to go in and talk to them.
And they might have 8 to 5 hours.
Sure.
If you book with me, I'm available by text or by message. If at 7 o'clock at night you think, wow, I just have to plan this trip because I need to go.
Yeah.
You can send me a message and we'll get it taken care of.
No kidding.
Something happens on your trip and you're overseas and it's 2 a.m. here and it's, 6 p.m. there, you'll still be able to get a hold of me. I keep track of who's traveling when, so I know hey, I really need to be alert during off hours if my phone's going off at this time to make sure that nothing's going wrong with my clients that I have traveling.
Wow. Now, okay, I did not expect that because I guess to me, advisor, agent were the same thing in my mind. And that's different, that you are on alert where people are and possibly the times that they may call and say, hey, I need something, or do you have a separate phone? Or do you just
Nope,
use
I just have it all linked to mine.
all personal
I
phone?
don't want to have to keep track of 2 phones all the time.
Sure. Well, I did not expect that, and that's really cool. And I assume people have called you at off hours then.
I do a lot of my busiest time is actually between like 9 and midnight because that's when people have available.
Oh, sure.
They
On
put their
vacation
kids-
or planning something?
Just in general, it seems like that's the time that people are winding down.
Sure.
If something happens during vacation, a lot of times it's a flight concern.
Okay.
Or like they got to the airport and their booked car wasn't there.
Gotcha. And then what do you do then for if there's some hiccup in it? Like if the car wasn't there, you just call them up and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
So we can get a hold of the vendor because a lot of times it might be set up through the hotel. So sometimes it's something just as simple as a name spelt wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
And sometimes there's that language barrier. So
do you have to speak bilingual or anything?
I don't have to.
No?
But when you're talking to our contact, it's something that came up, and it was literally
Okay.
a name issue. And when I told them like, this is the confirmation number, can you look to see that? They had spelt a name wrong. The person picking them up didn't have the greatest English.
Sure.
And so they didn't think it was right because they were looking at the reservation and the name wasn't right. So it was just something that simple where they called the driver and fixed it. So
Now, I got to assume that there are flight issues that happen and they call you and say, "Hey, what's going on?" How do you deal with that? Because obviously you're not in charge of the plane. And is that something you're able to handle too as an advisor?
So we can help. We suggest for flights, especially domestic flights, that you use your points and you book that way. But for us, if it's a multi-leg trip, right, that could impact many things. So we can assist with letting the next destination know, or if you were supposed to be picked up at a certain time, we can assist with making sure that car time gets changed for pickup, or
Okay.
we can assist in. A lot of times you going to the counter, if it's a flight issue, is going to be the fastest way. So if you've booked on your own using your points, that's going to be the fastest, but it's not saying we can't help you with that.
Sure.
But usually it's the next leg of your trip, right, that's being impacted by that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if we'll highly recommend travel insurance. So if you've used travel insurance, then what you can do is if you're coming in a day late, a lot of times we can get you a credit for that.
Oh, okay.
We can help get either you're stuck, right? A lot of times you're coming home and there's weather here because we're traveling in winter to get warm places.
That's right.
It's nice in the warm place and it's not good here, right?
That's right.
So if you get stuck for another day, there's things we can help you with that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can't help with the airline problems. Obviously, you can only do so much, but you can at least try to make amends to make your trip, the next part of it,
Yep.
better. Gotcha. So you do recommend travel insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And, every time I always click no, and I've never had an issue yet. There's one time we were really close to having an issue. Here's a funny story. One time we were going on a cruise, and we used to go down the morning before. So we'd hit up like a 5 a.m. flight or a 6 a.m., get down to Florida by about 10. Plenty of time to get on the ship. Well, this one time, the airline pilot, a lady, accidentally spilled her water on the control panel. And we didn't know that, but the way we found out was my dad saw a lady pilot. She was crying, and she was on the phone, I think, talking to her parents, probably, how embarrassed she was. And my dad sat by a pole, just acting like he's on his phone, and he's going to probably laugh when he's listening to this. But he overheard how she accidentally spilled her water on the control panel and shut the whole flight down. And that was a time when we were very close to missing our cruise because of that reason. So now we've learned to go the day before, take that extra day, stay overnight in the hotel next to the port, and just take it easy. And then I've learned that at the end, when we get off the ship, don't get one so close to like noon. Get one in the evening, because sometimes you can't get off the ship as fast as you'd like.
Or you have your shuttle arranged, but they just sold everybody a ticket to that bus, so you got to wait for the next one to come.
That happened. Here's one time we were supposed to. These people had Royal Caribbean T-shirts on, and they were acting like they were working for them, but they were their own shuttle company that went there. And we were sitting there waiting. We're like, "What's going on?" Like, we still have to fill up 3 seats. We're gonna miss our flight. Who cares about the 3 seats? And I think we actually missed our flight that time. So then we really had to, we went from, I think, Florida to Cincinnati, from Cincinnati to Chicago, and then we had to get a rental car and drive from Chicago back home, which was
Sounds
miserable.
like a mess.
That was a mess. So that's why we're going to have to get a travel advisor, I think.
So, and there's different kinds of insurance, right? Everything that you click asks, do you want to add insurance? So we do a group insurance. So it would be one policy and it covers your whole trip. Instead of you getting individual through the cruise and through the rental car and through whatever else you would do, we just do one, and it's based on the amount of your trip.
Okay, so it's like an umbrella.
Yes.
Just like covers everything. Okay, so then there's one fee and it covers everything. And so let's say I missed my cruise. What as an advisor, what would happen if I had the insurance and I missed my cruise because of the airline?
So if it's because of the airline and your cruise, so they should be informed, because a lot of times when you go on your cruise, you're putting in your flight information.
Yep.
So there's different things that can happen, right? You're either going to miss the whole thing. They can sometimes get you to the next port. Mm-hmm. So those would be expenses incurred. So you would submit receipts.
Oh, gotcha.
So.
Okay, so that's how that would work then.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, and we've luckily, cross our fingers, we've never had that problem happen before.
Well, if you're flying a day ahead now, which is highly recommended.
Yes, it is, for sure. We have done the other, and it was stressful because you never know what the weather's going to be like up in Minneapolis, where we're from. We used to go during Thanksgiving, and then it was kind of more like March over spring break, which the weather is starting to get a little better around here. I don't know if we're going through a warming period, but things seem to have... We've had better luck in lately. It seems like the 90s we had snowstorms all the time.
Or if you get snow in March now, we're shut down for 2 days instead of 2 hours. Because it's that heavy snow.
Now, you were talking about payments and stuff of that nature. How secure, if I'm going through a travel advisor such as yourself, how secure are my payment? Because you never know, there's a lot of booking sites out there for the average person that might just try to book it on their own. And there's some that seem like I've never heard of them. Like, obviously, people have heard of Expedia. We've heard of Travelocity. But then there's other ones that I've seen on there. I'm like, man, that's a way cheaper rate, but I've never heard of that before. So if going through you, is my payment and all my money, card storage, is that secure then?
Yep. So we have our own system that it does, and it verifies with your bank.
Okay.
So we do, if you have, say, on your account set up to get notification, sometimes I might message you, hey, the payment didn't go through. Can you clear it with your bank?
Okay, gotcha.
But ours is stored, so as soon as we exit out of the screen, everything goes down.
Okay. So that makes me feel a little better, because there are times when people get ripped off on vacation, it seems.
Yes.
Because there's scams or something of that nature. Back, less than 10 years ago, I remember I took one of the classes to Chicago for the class trip when I was teaching. And actually, my card got banned because I was buying the pass for the train system. Okay. And they thought someone had stolen my card and was just purchasing a whole bunch of passes for the L train. And I'm like, I had to call my bank and be like, no, I'm purchasing all these. I had to purchase them individually for whatever reason. So that was annoying because my card almost got shut down. And if your card got shut down on vacation, that might cause a big problem, because then you can't do anything.
So if you're traveling, always, always, always let your card company know. Even if you are, we go all over. I travel all over, and I still fill the thing out online that tells them, I'm going to be in Minneapolis, and then I'm going to be here.
Yep.
And I even include the layovers. Like if I have a layover in my flight, because normally I'm not in Charlotte, North Carolina, but
sure.
I just, like you said, if your card's going to get shut down, that's not good.
Yes.
And I usually recommend you bring a backup card as well that you're maybe not using. Like maybe you're using your main one that you earn points on or cash back on.
Yep.
But have that second one just in case. Okay.
Do you recommend people getting cards for points and stuff like that so they can, especially if they're frequent travelers, is it better that, because you were talking about using points for flights and stuff like that. Is it a benefit to get a card that has those things then in your mind?
I wouldn't recommend one or the other, but if you're someone who travels and likes to use the lounges,
oh, sure,
there's ones that benefit for that. If you're going to be traveling a lot, so I know some companies have you pay first and they reimburse you for your flights, then you're going to benefit from a mileage card. And there's ones, whether you're a dedicated airline or there's general ones that you can use that just you can book on any flight.
Okay. When I took my honeymoon to Hawaii for a Hawaiian cruise 2-ish plus years ago, we got into the Delta Club, and because I had Delta One on my way back, and that was a really nice feature. Expensive feature, but it was really nice because it was unlimited drinks and food and all that, and it was a lounge. Because in Hawaii, didn't know this, part of their part of their airport is outside. And so it was nice to go into some AC because it got a little warm there when we were waiting for our flight. But I didn't realize that Hawaii's airport is somewhat outside. Some of it is. And then you go indoors and then you go outdoors. And it was kind of a unique thing. Now I got another question. I got 2 questions for you. What's the easiest vacation to book for you or to advise on? Is there an easier one? And then the other question I have is, what's a hard one then for you?
So people who cruise a lot of times know where they want to cruise to. So cruises are pretty nice, pretty straightforward.
Okay.
We're going to advise you to go the day before, and like you said, the afternoon flights. And some
Sure.
people will choose to stay, extra days. So that's like the hardest part of that easy booking is figuring out where they want to stay, because some people will want to get a rental car if they go, and others will be like, I need transportation from the airport and to the port, and depending on where you're out of, that's not always an option.
Okay. So the cruises are kind of easy because people already
Yep.
kind of know where they want to go.
Yeah, because they'll tell you, like, I want to hit up this island, or
Sure.
I want to go on this brand for 8 days, and I want to leave out of this port. Okay, well, that narrows it down pretty much.
Well, when I call you, ours will be simple because I already know what ship we're going on. And I already know the dates. So it'll be really, really simple for us. Now, what's a hard one then for you? Is there a certain type?
I don't know that it's necessarily hard, but more time-consuming and difficult are the
There
people
you
who
go, that.
like to hop. They're going overseas and they want to see multiple places,
Oh,
or
sure.
they're going on a road trip, but they want to stay at like a certain brand of hotel or that level. Like they don't want to be at a 2-star and then a 4-star hotel. They want to be at a 4-star and above all the time. So spacing it out so they can cover enough miles and still get where they want and see what they want.
Okay. Yeah.
I do enjoy planning those, though, because then I have all sorts of new places that I need to see.
So, and you mentioned that you are a big traveler, and I guess I didn't know that about you. I wasn't aware. I just knew whatever Jackson told me he was going, that's where you guys were going, and I thought it was like a once a year thing. How many times a year do you think you travel?
This year I've already gone 5 places.
Holy smokes!
But I like to get out every 2 months and go somewhere. Even if it's close by, I like to try to see something new I haven't seen before.
Okay, yeah. And so you went on 5 of them so far this year in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're only the 7th. We're going on our 7th month. So that means you've traveled almost once a month.
Correct.
Well, what's the best place you went so far?
This year we went to California instead of Phoenix. And that's a place we've never been.
Okay, Jackson did say that.
And that was a vacation like we normally wouldn't take, but it was still pretty fun. So we did end up going to see like the USS Midway. We did.
Oh, cool.
It rained a lot, but we did have a place that had a pool, so that was nice.
Where did you specifically go in California?
San Diego.
San Diego, that's right. Yep, that's what I thought.
So we went to the zoo. When we travel as a family, we like to check out the bigger zoos that are around. That's just something that's usually pretty reasonably priced, and everybody can find something they enjoy there.
Absolutely. So that was one that was just, we're not going to Phoenix this year. Or
We're going next year, though.
You're going next year. And then we decided, hey, look, we're going to California this year. How'd the kids take it? They're like, oh, this sounds fun. We don't care.
Yeah, they're like, okay, another vacation paid. We're going.
That's right. So then you must have traveled a lot when you were younger, I assume?
We did some travel. I more got into it when I got out of nursing school and had more funds available.
So are you still a nurse?
Yep.
Oh, so you do both?
Yes.
Perfect. Multifaceted. That's what you need to be. Right. Okay. So then I assume you go, what are you, like 4 on, 4 off days for nursing?
I'm 2 days a week.
2 days a week, and then you do the travel advising the
Yep.
other days? Or probably still those other days too?
Yep.
Does it ever become a lot? Because if I know, most nurses work a 12-hour shift.
Correct. That's one of the benefits of being a nurse is you can work a 12-hour shift if you want.
Sure. And so then if someone calls you and they're on vacation, how does that work?
So we always have availability. Like I have a watch that'll tell me. So if I'm working, I make sure that my watch is turned on if I can't have my phone on me.
Okay.
So that I can make sure that I can get back to somebody right away.
Sure. Have you ever been in a predicament where you're busy at the hospital and someone's calling you and you're like, oh no, I need to take this somehow?
Knock on wood, no, I have not. But I'm sure it'll.
I don't know if this is, well, there's wood underneath. Perfect.
I'm sure it'll come up, but it's pretty. I mean, nursing's pretty flexible as well.
Yeah.
Like so.
You probably have a lot of downtime in your 12-hour shifts, is my guess. Sometimes.
I wish there was more downtime.
Okay, so maybe I'm totally wrong. So the last time I was in the hospital was when we had our baby, and we were the only people there having a baby. So the nurses came in and said, "Well, we'll take her off your hands so you can get a little bit of rest and stuff like that." And I'm like, "This is great." And we were the only people there, so I'm like, "Well, you guys can't have too much to do, I wouldn't think."
So I'm in emergency and urgent care services,
Okay,
so it's
so
a little busier there.
this
So
is a little busier.
not that we don't have downtime, but
Yep.
I could never bank on it.
So I've always had this because I was teaching and I was doing real estate. So people go, "How do you do both?" And I'm like, "Well, I utilize my technology as best as possible because I had some downtime when I had my break in my day." So I'm assuming, because to me, travel advising and nursing are two different things. And for me, in my mind, teaching and real estate can go hand in hand. And the way I always say that is, when I'm selling someone a house, I have to, especially a first-time home buyer, I'm teaching them the steps of how this is all working. And so I'm like, well, I'm still kind of teaching at the same time. But I feel like travel advising and nursing are way opposites. Is that true, do you think? Or
Yes and no, but another fun fact, I do have my master's in education.
Well, really?
So, and I would say that nursing and travel go together more than you would think. The number of people that we run into that people come in because they want to feel good on their trips. So there's,
Didn't think about that.
yeah, so.
Because people get seasick, I know that.
People come back and they're ill from their travel. People aren't feeling great. They want to feel better before they go. So
I suppose
it all kind of
that's true.
intertwines.
What's something that someone would come in beforehand to feel good for their vacation, for nursing that is, or to the hospital? Would someone come in and say, "I want this so I feel good during my travels"?
Well, you don't want to fly with plugged ears.
Oh my gosh, I had that one time and it was so annoying. So every time before I travel in a plane, I always get my ears flushed. Because it happened one time when I went to altitude, and then I couldn't get them to pop when I came down. Like, oh my gosh, that was annoying. So okay,
And sinus issues, right? Like
Sure.
if your whole front is plugged up, you don't want to, wherever you're going, you don't want to feel like that because you don't know what allergens are in the air where you're going.
Sure.
And you're going to have a miserable trip if you're not feeling good.
That was the one thing. So I can't remember what I did. I had to get something on the cruise ship, I think, in order to feel better. But yes, I used to get sick like the day of travel. And then when I get there and the first day, I was like, ah. And then I would feel better as I got going. So, okay, I totally get that now. So then when someone comes back, have they come back with some huge illnesses because they went to a different country?
I mean, we see the GI virus sometimes, or maybe they caught and now they have the cold because they were exposed to the other pollen, so the sinus infections. So.
Sure. I guess, I didn't even think about that kind of stuff. They do go hand in hand. You're right. I would want to feel good before I leave, so make sure I don't have sinus problems. I get my ears flushed, but make sure you don't, because if you have plugged ears, it's very, very hard to hear. Okay. Now I want to go over some myths, because there's myths that are on the internet, and I want you to prove some of these myths wrong because of the fact, but we've already gone over some of these. I've already asked you some of these questions, like, are travel agents more expensive than booking online? And you said no, because you have access to deals that I, as a normal person, probably don't have access to.
And I can only speak for myself and our company. There are agencies out there that will charge you a research fee and a booking fee and a finder's fee. And
wow.
So
you don't do that?
No, we don't do that.
Okay.
The price I give you includes everything I've told you. There's no additional fee anywhere.
Okay, so that's myth number one. That's already been busted by Nicole so far. Okay, here's one. Myth number two. Travel agents are outdated and no one uses them anymore.
Well, that is definitely a myth, because we are seeing more travel agents coming in through our industry, and none of us are competing with each other. We are not stepping on each other's toes for clients within our company.
Sure.
And
so you said stepping on other people's toes, and I could see how that happens because it does happen in the real estate world sometimes, where someone will steal someone's client. There's different ways of going about that, but you saying that that doesn't happen much in your field.
No, I've never had somebody come up to me and say, well, I used this travel agent once and this, or I've never had someone say, well, the other agent that I asked said this.
Okay, so you're seeing more and more agents and advisors coming into this. Wow. Well, you know what? I feel like, and this could just be a myth in my head or just an opinion, but I feel like this generation, around our generation, and then even younger kids, I feel like they are doing more traveling and more experiences rather than maybe buying material things. Are you seeing that at all?
Yep, a lot more people, like, that's what we do every year. You know, we travel to Phoenix and the kids know we're going somewhere, but we do something new. So that's their Christmas present. What's the new experience we're going to do out there?
Sure. That would be an awesome Christmas present. All right. Oh, here we go. Myth number 3, and Nicole's already busted this one. Travel agents only book flights and hotels.
And that is definitely wrong.
That's just a portion of what you do.
Yes.
There's many other things. Now, can you do those?
I sure can.
But what else can you do?
Rental cars, all-inclusives, Amtrak trains, excursions.
See, there's way more to it than booking flights and hotels. Now, obviously, when I think of a vacation, flights and hotels are like the first thing that come to my mind. The other things you just listed, traveling of like car rentals, excursions, weddings, as you've said, those things didn't even really occur to me that much. Sometimes you just go to a place and you're like, oh, let's just figure out what to do here. But you can actually advise, this is the best things you should do here. These are things you should probably hit up. So I do like that.
We can also tell you, like, so our company has a app that we use where we can communicate with each other and say, like, we put as agents, we tell each other honest reviews. So we could say, like, this used to be one of our greatest stays, and now someone just stayed there and it was subpar, or someone had this experience or tried this, we have a new vendor and they tried this excursion and it wasn't worth it, or they didn't like it, and this is why. So
that's good, because so you're getting in-time reviews from people of things. Because obviously you go to a certain place, like let's just say Orlando, most people are probably going to say, let's go to Disney World or let's go to Universal Studios. Maybe those are still fantastic things, but you would know best on these are other options that you could possibly hit up, and they're just as good, if not better.
Yep, and these are packages we can offer, and there's all sorts of things in Orlando that we can offer. So.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go on the next one. Travel agents don't have access to the same deals as the internet. That one you've already gone over. You have different access that we do not.
And we have more access.
More access. So you kind of dove into this at the beginning of the podcast, that there's like wholesale things, and they're only exclusive to you.
Correct. And our company doesn't just go with certain ones. Like some companies will only have access to a few different wholesalers or vendors.
Sure.
But we don't limit ourselves.
Okay.
Login wise, for us as the agent, we have a lot more logins than people who are limited, but we also have that much more variety and that many more prices, because not all prices, even when you're looking online, you can see that. Like if you look on Bookings and Expedia, the prices might be different. So imagine if I can check all these other sites.
Sure.
And get even better rates than what you can find.
All right. Now, this one, you're going to have to probably explain yourself a little bit. Because this one is the next myth. All travel agents are the same. I can't imagine you're all the same, because especially for you, because you guys all work remote underneath a company from Miami, Florida. So you're based in Minnesota, where someone else might be based in Montana or down in Arizona. So you're all going to be different. What makes you different? What makes you special? I want to know that.
One, I like to travel, and I've been traveling.
Yep.
And before I became an agent, I was already educating myself on places and helping people. So for us, we like to help and we like to guide, and I like to do that too. And naturally with my teaching, that comes in too. So as I'm helping you, I'm going to also tell you, like, well, I think that this might go best with that.
Okay.
And help build on your experience. But you could get somebody who just says, well, no, I'm only going to do this for you, and I'm only going to be available from 8 till 5.
Okay.
And if something happens while you're traveling and it's on a Saturday, well, don't just plan to hear from me Monday or Tuesday. Well, we aren't going to do that, and I definitely would not do that.
Yes. Now, that's the one thing that you said earlier that in my mind stuck out is you said that I am available whenever you need me. I have an idea of when some of my clients are at a place, so I have an idea of when they might be getting a hold of me and stuff of that nature. I love that there's access to you directly with your phone, that I can say, hey, Nicole, I want to go here, or I am here. What should I do? Because that's a lot of how I do my stuff. So the person I get a loan from at the bank, I like that I have his personal contact information. I can text him at 8 o'clock at night. He'll still probably respond to me. If not, he'll get back to me right away in the morning. Same thing with other people that I work with in the real estate industry. So that's what I actually love the most of what you said earlier about yourself. Now, other people, like you said, they could say, well, yeah, I'll get back to you 8 to 5 the next day. And you might get back to me at 10 o'clock that night.
It is not uncommon at 2 or 3 in the morning for me to get back to somebody. So.
Sure. Do you get like a notification on your phone? It like rings and...
So...
Assume you got to sleep sometime.
Well, working in the nursing field, there's swing shift. So
Sure.
Sleep is a little hard to make a set schedule. So some nights I'm awake all night. So when I'm doing that, I'm usually doing some research. There's so many certificates and things that we can work on to like broaden our knowledge as well.
Yep.
So if I'm just sitting around, I'm like, well, I might as well look at what I can learn about either a destination or a brand or a whole, like some of the wholesalers have things for us. So
Sure.
to learn more about them. So
Now, you've already busted this myth here. Travel agents don't care about you after their bookings. That's not true, because you said that you've taken phone calls while people are on vacation.
I want you to keep coming back.
Yeah.
I have so much that I can offer. That why would I not want to continue to take care of you after you travel?
Right.
And say you book something on your own after you booked through me, I'm still going to hope you have a great vacation.
Sure.
You can still reach out to me.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to cut you off when I see, oh my gosh, you've gone somewhere else with someone else. No, there's so much I can help you with.
That's good, because that would be, once it's they're on their way to whatever they're going to do. Now I have no more communication with them anymore. And it's the same in the real estate world too. I got to keep in contact with people even after they've closed on their house or between the offer and between the closing dates. I got to do all that kind of stuff too. And it does make it way nicer to know someone has a personal interest in how you're doing on your vacation, for sure. Because you should have a sense and a peace of mind, I think, when you're on vacation, to know, hey, my travel advisor has my back, and if I have a question, she's going to answer. Okay. Myth number 7. It's easier to book yourself. I can attest to this. It's not that easy to book yourself. I have done it multiple times trying to arrange, and these are the 3 things I've had to do. Get the cruise, get the rooms booked for myself and my wife and my parents. That's just 2. Get flights for 4 people, and then book a hotel for 2 people, or for 2 rooms for 4 people. That's not the easiest thing in the world, and that's just me doing it on my own. So it's easier to book yourself. Is that a myth, or is it a fact?
I'm going to say that's a myth, because I run into this a lot when people say, well, oh, I found this for this price and yours is higher. And then I say, have you gone all the way to the checkout screen?
Uh-huh.
Because what the price that I give you, so I get this a lot with all-inclusives. Mm-hmm. The price I get you, I make sure I have your hotel transfer in there. And I make sure that I have the correct room class that you want, because sometimes when you're booking, you've clicked that, but if you don't double check, it may have dropped you down a room category and kept you at the same price. And there's not transfers included in that. That's usually an add-on at the end.
Sure.
And it might not even be offered through some of these sites. Like, you still might be on your own trying to figure that out afterwards. So I always like to make sure they've checked that.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Vrbo or Airbnb. I remember one time, it was probably 7 years ago, I was booking. I'm like, oh, it'd just be cheaper to stay at an Airbnb. By the time I got to the checkout screen, they didn't tell me there's a $150 cleaning fee. I'm like, cleanup fee of $150 for one night? What? Not like we're partying. I could see if it was for like maybe 5 days. Totally understand that. But you're right. You get the checkout screen. When I was searching through all the things, when I pulled in the map, I'm like, ooh, $150 for 4 people to stay here? That's great. Oh, wait, I get to the checkout screen. It's $300+. I'm like, that's not even close. Now I can stay at a hotel for cheaper.
And some of them will be like over 3 people, even though it says we book 10. Anybody over 3, there's an additional person charge.
Sure.
There's additional usage charge.
Yep. Well, that I can already tell you that was a myth because I've done it myself, and it's not. First of all, it puts a little stress on myself because I'm like, if it doesn't go right, I'm the one that looks like an idiot. So, okay, and then the last one, travel agents only book big, expensive trips.
No, I will help people we help budget travelers to luxury travelers. You want a $100 night room, you want a $40,000 penthouse suite. We can book it all. So,
what's the most you've ever booked? Like, what's the most do you remember the most expensive one you've ever booked for a vacation?
The most expensive that I have booked has been about $2,000 a night.
Whoa, that's still a lot.
for-
Where were they going? Can you even say?
It was in Vegas.
Oh, sure, of course. I'm sure they lost more per night there than they probably spent on their room.
But, I mean, you're going to get what you pay for as well, is what I like to tell people. Even our budget travelers, like, I love helping everybody because I think travel is so important for your mental health. It's good for you to explore, and it's great for you to make memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do like to remind people, like, I love helping budget travelers, but sometimes, for $25 more a night, we're going to bump you up a whole hotel class.
Oh, really?
And make it a little, just.
Yeah, and who wouldn't do that for $25 extra dollars, right?
So.
As we're starting to wind down on the podcast here, I got a couple ending questions for you. One, where has been your favorite vacation that you've gone with your kids?
Madeira Beach, so it's just south of Clearwater.
Okay.
And it's oceanfront. There's, we like to hang out by the ocean.
Sure.
They're one of the places down there that also has a heated pool all year round. There's a couple places down there, so a lot of times we've found when we've traveled and stay places, they'll have a pool for you. But it gets cold at night still in Florida.
Yes,
and if
it
that
does.
pool's not heated, it might take till 4 in the afternoon, and then you only have a little bit till it's warm enough to enjoy. So
That's true.
We found many places down there have heated pools.
And you said that's by Clearwater Beach?
Yep, it's south of Clearwater. So.
Okay. And what was the place called, the destination?
Madeira Beach.
Never heard of that one.
So it's about 18 minutes, I think, is what it takes us to get there.
Oh, sure.
Because we like to go up to Clearwater and hang out there.
Okay.
They have a little strip mall, kind of like a touristy strip mall, but it's got a lot of restaurants and bars, sports bars. When we were there, they had a lot of Wisconsin and Minnesota bartenders there, actually, when we were down there.
I bet, man. That's got to be the place to go is down south because, the one thing I remember, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and they loved that I was from the Midwest. They just said that that the people up north in the Midwest have a better work ethic. So maybe that's why there's a lot of kids down there that are like, hey, this is warm weather, and they probably get hired instantaneously.
They have some fresh. So I really enjoy fresh fish, so we go to the fresh fish market.
Oh, that sounds good.
And there's one down there that sells Ellsworth cheese curds. They said they specifically have them flown in during the winter months.
Sure.
There's so many people from up here that come down there.
I suppose, yeah, the
So.
snowbirds, huh?
Yep.
And then now my next question is, where do you like to travel? Maybe if it's just with yourself or with friends, not with your kids. And is there a spot that you like to go, other than maybe where you go by Clearwater?
I have friends down in Jacksonville, so I don't mind going there.
Okay.
But before my friends even moved there, I soloed down in Jacksonville. I just really enjoyed that area, the St. Augustine area.
Okay, my wife was down there because they said was that like the oldest place in Florida?
Yeah,
Or
so I
United
plan on
States?
going in December. The historic downtown, they light it all up with white lights. So it's,
Sure.
And then it's like cobblestone and brick roads. And then they have boat parades. So instead of like a Christmas parade like we would do here, it's people put lights on their boats and they have.
Yes, that's the kind of parade I want, is lights on a boat parade. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then lastly, before we head out here, do you have one memory of a vacation in your whole entire life that just stands out there? Like, this was just one that will stick with me forever, or maybe even if it's two of them. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
So we road trip to South Dakota.
Okay.
And as a nurse, I work night shifts, so I'm like, I am throwing everybody in the car and they can all sleep all night while I drive us to South Dakota.
Sure.
Super great plan, except if you've ever been and paid attention, there's not many gas stations.
Nope.
And I was just more focused on letting everybody sleep. So, we were... The first place we stopped did not have a 24-hour gas pump when we had the low fuel light on. So
Oh, no.
we were on a wing and a prayer to make it to the next one, but...
Did you make it?
We did make it.
You did. I've been to through Kansas, and that was another one where you have to plan out your gas almost, because there was like, I think we were going down I-35 down to Texas, and as you're going down, it's pretty flat, and then in the middle of the highways or the interstate, there's gas stations, and you kind of had to plan it out because they were far and few between. So, and I know I've gone out to South Dakota, and yeah, you're right. If you're not paying attention, you may not know when the next gas station is coming, because there's not very many big cities and towns in South Dakota.
Not on the way to where you're going, anyways.
No.
And then we like to road trip when we stay in Phoenix. So we had gotten a rental car, and we were road tripping back from California. This was the first time we took the kids there. We just took them to a little town across the border for breakfast so they could say they had been to California.
Sure.
And we were coming back and keeping up with traffic, doing like 100 miles an hour, because that's what you're doing. And my mother was with me, and she was pushing a button in the rental car, and it turned out that it was the parking brake as we were doing 100 miles an hour. So now we laugh about it, and, afterwards we laughed about it, but...
I feel like there would have been like a foolproof system. Like if you're going so fast, the parking brake just won't work.
No, there was not.
So what happened?
We slowed down real fast.
Oh, you slowed down real fast, going 100.
About got rear-ended, and
I
then
bet.
couldn't figure out what was going on, and then we realized what happened. So we then pulled off to have ice cream at the next stop, where we, were laughing so hard we were crying at that point, because we were like, what could have happened? And then I guess not everybody else found that as funny as we did when we were telling them about that, but we still have a good laugh about it.
You could have got hit real bad in the back on a hundo. And as we're about to close out here, is there any lasting things you want to leave us with the travel advisory, or just anything with travel related at all?
Well, I would hope that if people would like to get a hold of me, that they can find me on Facebook at Nicole S. Travel Deals.
Nicole S. Travel Deals?
Yep.
Okay.
And just remember that not all advisors charge a fee, and not everybody is the same, like we've discussed. So.
Sure. And I will plug that in the show notes for those who are listening. If you want to get Nicole S. Travels, all you have to do is go scroll down the travel, or in the travel notes, in the show notes, and you can click on that. It'll take you right to her page, and you can book anything from as simple as a $100 hotel to a lavish vacation across seas in Greece. So I want to thank you for coming on in. This is really great. And one more time, say your handle and who you work for again.
So, Nicole Severson, a travel advisor through Lux Riley Travel.
Perfect. Again, that'll be in the show notes below. And for those who are listening, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and 5-star this podcast, because you never know who's coming in. It could be a travel agent or a travel advisor, or we could have anybody else in here. You never know who's coming into the studio next. But I want to thank Nicole one more time for coming on in for another week of Brews and Crews, and we want to give her one big cheers.
Cheers.
And we'll see you next week.